The search continues after Tuesday's 7.1 earthquake in Mexico that killed at least 295 people. Many were trapped in collapsed buildings, but the death toll could have been higher without the country's earthquake warning system. It speeds an alert to people miles away from the quake's epicenter, precious seconds before the ground starts to shake.
Other nations have implemented similar systems, but so far the U.S. has not, at least not fully, despite our seismically active West Coast. Here to talk about it is Derek Thompson, senior editor at The Atlantic. Derek, good morning.
Good morning.
Let's talk about Mexico's state-of-the-art system first. Been around since the 90s, right?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting because you see that, Mexico has its own system, Japan has its own system, China has its own system. There's maps there of Taiwan and Turkey that have the systems as well. All of these countries developed their early warning systems after catastrophes. Yep. So after the 85 Mexico earthquake killed thousands of people, after the 95 Kobe earthquake in Japan killed thousands of people, after the 2008 China earthquake killed up to 90,000 people. So it seems as if these countries need a crisis, a catastrophe, before they put together the system to detect these earthquakes before they reach people where they live.
How accurate are the systems and how exactly do they work?
Right, so imagine the earthquake, right, occurring along a fault line, and then the shaking radiates outward. The waves are radiating outward from this ruptured fault. Once you put a sensor right by that fault line, and the waves will trigger that sensor and then send a message out to people miles and miles away. And now here's the key. The telecommunications move much, much faster than the earthquake. So the text outruns the shaking. So you can get seconds of warning, but maybe even minutes
if you're
of
further
warning
from
if
that
you're further from, right, exactly, from that fault. And then when you know you have minutes, you don't just have to duck and hide. Maybe you can even leave the building and be safe outside, away from the edge of these buildings, because that's the most dangerous part.
And do you get a sense, like, does the alert tell you how long you have, also how much time you have before it's going to hit?
The most advanced ones do. So the most advanced ones, like the U.S. is developing right now, have systems where they'll tell you where the epicenter is, what the magnitude is, what the intensity is. That's actually the amount of shaking. But then they'll even show you a kind of radar of the shaking approaching you. So as I was reading about this, what I could only think of, and this might be a little bit of a glib metaphor, but when you're on your phone looking at the Uber or Lyft driver as he's coming to reach you, you could actually have that information about the shaking, about the waves reaching your zip code from the epicenter.
So, I mean, there are, something like 140 million people in seismically active areas of this country. So how far away are we from this, and why don't we have a system?
Right. So the answer to the latter question, unfortunately, is three things. It's price. It costs millions of dollars. It costs about $60 million.
But we're spending billions on buildings.
I know. But we're in a period right now where people don't want necessarily to act to prevent catastrophes until they happen. Yeah. And this is a story not just of the U.S., but it's also a story of the world, right? These early warning systems were built after the catastrophes happened. So one of the terrible things, one of the sadder things right now is that even as you're seeing the benefits of these early warning systems all over the world, the Trump budget in early 2017 actually zeroes out further development of the West Coast early warning system.
Seems crazy you have to wait for that, for something tragic like that. Derek, thank you very much. We appreciate it.